I think the culture secretary will be really brilliant at his job. I think his job will be to run around congratulating people on doing lovely cultural things and bit by bit take money away from them. That'll be his job. Now, he's been a banker. Now, you know, bankers know how to handle money. He's also been a banker who was at a bank that is still under a lot of inspection. I read in the paper just this morning that the Deutsche Bank is in serious trouble with the fact that not only did it fix the rate illegally, but all sorts of other problems. Now, the culture secretary was, well, how can I put it? He was bossing it at the bank. Now, I don't know whether he was involved in any of that. He doesn't seem to think that he needs to make a statement about that. And also in the bank that he was at before, Chase Manhattan, I think, that at that bank, he made enormous amount of money very quickly. Now, when I've interviewed people about how they made money in banks very quickly prior to the crash, I've said, how did you do that? I had to do it for a radio program I made, and the guy said, well, it's quite simple. I sold people debts that they didn't know that was what I was selling them. And I said, is that how you make a lot of money? And he said, yeah, you bet. No, what happens is you sit down opposite somebody and you say, I've got a fantastic package here. And because the atmosphere was so frenetic and fervid, people thought, wow, you've got a fantastic package. And these high up people didn't read the small print in which it said, inside this, there's a dodgy debt. And so they bought the package. So you could say, well, hard cheese, you didn't read the small print. Are we really saying that I mean, I don't know how the culture secretary made his money. He hasn't told us, but I gather that it was in the region of about 20 million in a very, very short time. Is that what he spent his time doing? Is that the training in order to become a culture secretary? Now, people have rapped me over the wrist and said, how dare you criticise this man? Look at this, surely you'd be saying, isn't this wonderful? His father was working class, was a bus driver, and here he is coming from Pakistani origin. Surely you would welcome that. Well, of course, I welcome the diversity of Britain. I'm a great champion of diverse Britain, but it doesn't really make any difference. What I'm concerned about is that the training to be a culture secretary appears to have been to make something like 20 million in a bank just at the very moment that the bank's put us in the crisis which is requiring us to take the cuts, and then at a bank that was clearly up to dodgy stuff, and then in the job as culture secretary, you can bet your bottom dollar, appropriate metaphor, you can bet your bottom dollar that he will be obliged or will be recommending that certain institutions that I consider valuable, anything in the arts, will have to take a hit.